Against this right back, Charlie's definitely.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
There's always just that active red line defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again. Special guest settings, man. Jordan, what are you saying? Appreciate you for being tuned in, man. It's been a long time, and I needed to get you on this platform to speak Arsenal, man. What are you saying?
It's been a minute, bro. I'm nice. DG in the building. What are you telling me?
I'm good, man. You see what we're doing in the Prem? Hopefully we bring it home, man.
Bro, come on. Hopefully.
Fingers, everything crossed, bro. Everything crossed.
Yeah, man. Everything crossed, man. But so far, so good. So far,
yeah, exactly.
Good,
and that's why I've got you here, man, about so far, so good. What have you made of Arsenal this season? Because I've never had a chance to ask you so far.
Yeah. It's obviously been really impressive, man. It's a team that I think is coming to a position where lots of the planning and prep that's been done by the board, by Edu and via Mikel Arteta, that seems to be now coming to fruition. I do think that we're a year, maybe even too early. I think the club are preparing for a top four finish. They may say that this was the plan all along. Maybe it was. I reckon it was going to be a steady progress of eighth, just missed out on fourth. So the target this year is fourth minimum. That's like minimum this year now. That's the bare minimum. We find ourselves in a title race, and I think what the club deserve credit for, Deluded, is the fact that whilst I don't think that they were preparing for a title charge, what they did, which is what I think them lot down the road where Wyatt haven't done, is prepared to be successful. So
Amen.
Whereby if you have a season whereby the usual big guns fall off, you're in a position whereby you're actually, we're top of the league. Because people always say, oh yeah, you're only top because Chelsea have fallen off this year.
What do you make of
Liverpool
that? You set it up perfectly. What do you make of
I don't care.
That's something that's been there, man.
I don't care.
I find it silly.
That's Chelsea's business. That's Liverpool's business. That's their business. If they will have a year off and have a madness, that's none of my business.
Amen.
Fans can say, oh, it's an asterisk because you only won it because they had a year off. Cool. The fact is, we prepared to do well, and we put ourselves in a position whereby if those teams do fall off, we're in a good position. If those teams were on job, maybe we'll be top four. Maybe. And that in itself wouldn't be a bad season. But them falling off and having a year off just means that the preparation of work that the guys behind the scenes have done has allowed us to be in a position where we're like, oh, rah, we're top.
It's a madness,
we're top of the league. So, so I'm cool with it, man. I'm cool with it.
What do you mean? What do you mean by ahead of the preparation and planning and testament to those behind the scenes? I know what you're alluding to, but someone that might not know what you're directly referring to, what do you exactly mean by that?
I think the club, if you look at when the ownership took full ownership of the club, I don't think that they would have been thinking within 3 years we want to be top of the league. I think they would have been been a bit more realistic and thought City and Liverpool are doing an absolute madness, and that's before you even get to like the likes of Chelsea, who were on job for the last 2 or 3 years. United was throwing money at it as well, and Tottenham, 3 or 4 years ago, weren't doing great, but they're always in and around that top six. So you've got to overcome a lot of teams to get to the top of the league.
Fact.
So I don't think they thought 3 years would be enough to kind of be the number one team. So I think this year was in the process, if you like, the year where Champions League football was a must. And if you can get a cup, cool. They've found themselves now in a situation where for about half the season now, they've been in a title race. They've been leading the Premier League. They're like, oh, bro. Yeah, I think from the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, more or less. Like, this season isn't making sense for us.
Bro, it's a mad thing. So I think they're now like, you know what? Okay, cool. We are top. And I reckon they would have bought in January anyway. But the mere fact that they were in a position whereby they saw a chance to like overachieve, if you like, they just thought, we're definitely going to buy this January now because we're in a position this year that we might not be in next year.
Amen.
And I don't know where you stand, Deluded, on last January's transfer window. I know most people, on Forever Arsenal, the boys think that they dropped the ball in not getting players in. I hear that, but at my point at the time then and is now, I don't believe in just buying for buying's sake.
I'm with you with that. There's no point of doing that, really and truly. Like, it's a double-edged sword, really, because you mentioned last year, obviously, if you don't sign people, like with Aubameyang, we needed a striker them times. You can't go save wages. But I like the fact that we're not doing what we previously do, of just buying for the sake of it. I think we've learned the lessons this year, and you've seen what Jorginho and specifically Trossard have brought, man. So I do like the new mentality and stuff like that we're actually doing, and ultimately new practices that were kind of harming us for years previously. So we're doing the right things. We're literally doing the competent things on and off the field that you'd expect a football club to make, really. So I think you're right.
Everyone's doing their job. That's like one of my mantras.
Exactly.
In my business or the company that I run in life, just do your job.
Just do your job.
Just do your job. Strikers,
very underrated.
Score the goals. Sporting directors, oversee the club. Manager, pick the right team and tactics and train them well. Edu, support Mikel Arteta. Everyone just do your left back. Be a left back. Just do your job.
Simple, isn't it? You're right. Still,
everyone does their job. It doesn't guarantee success, but you enhance the chance of success. In years gone by, there's been people that either haven't done their job or not good enough to do their job. And that's why we've been poor for. So you've got sporting directors and you've got people behind the scenes that aren't good enough at their job. You've got players on the pitch that are good to a level, but they're not good enough to fulfill what Arsenal want to do. So I just think we're seeing life isn't hard, and football's not hard. Everyone just does their job.
I'm so happy you said that, because I always say that on my channel. Football's a simple game.
And again, I'll repeat, it doesn't. If everyone does their job, it doesn't guarantee success. You can do your job and still finish fourth, still finish fifth. That can still happen. But at least you can say we couldn't do any more. We did our best. I did my job to the best of my ability. We just came up short.
Maximize what we could. Exactly. You're right on that, man. So again, you kind of touched on the Kroenkes. As you know, Arsenal look positive at the moment. I'm pretty sure you saw a few weeks ago their roles kind of changed. I think they become co-chairs or something like that. What do you make of the Kroenkes in the relationship now with the Arsenal fans, in your own personal opinion? Because if people tried to lead, protests against them, not many people are going to turn up, and I believe rightly so, because we're actually seeing what we want to see as a club. I think as much as you may or may not like them, they have invested money. And I think the last 18 months, 2 years, any successes or failures, specifically the transfer market, bringing in players, or like you see with Mudryk and Vlahovic, I'm not criticizing it, but if we haven't brought them in, it's because of the Edus and Artetas. It's not been because they haven't had money. It's just for one reason or another, we just haven't got it over the line, rightly or wrongly.
Well, I think those that say now, oh, you're not criticizing the ownership now, are you? Things are going well.
Because they're doing what we want to do.
Well, exactly, and I think it's important to acknowledge that when we were sticking it on them 4 or 5 years ago, it was rightly so.
Exactly,
they weren't doing their jobs. They were failing the football club. So I think let's not, just because things are going well now, let's erase or almost feel apologetic for putting heat on them before. No, they deserved it.
Exactly.
They deserved what they were getting.
Look what you're in charge of, a global football club that we all love.
They were failing the fan base and the institution that is Arsenal Football Club. Now they're not. So if we're going to be fair and balanced, they deserve praise. Bringing Arteta in was the right move. Sticking with Arteta, we're seeing, has proven to be the right move.
Amen.
Bringing in Edu and him supporting Arteta, financing that sort of stuff was the right move. Getting rid of Aubameyang. Aubameyang should have left for me months before he did. There's Arsenal fans that were like, oh, don't let him go without a striker coming in. Sometimes you've got to let people go to move forward. So that was the right move. They took a financial hit on that. Never mind the wrath of the fan base who like him. Mesut Ozil should have gone, forget 2 months before he did, 2 or 3 years before he did. Don't get me started on Mesut Ozil. They took a financial hit.
I know how you feel about him.
Bruv, let's not allow it. But so these are things that the ownership have done. They said, you know what, we'll take a financial hit, but you know what, Mikel Arteta, and again, other clubs can to some degree learn from this. They've said, Arteta, you're our guy. So if you say this guy's got to go, even a financial deficit,
amen.
We're losing money here, Mikel. So make sure that it's the guys. Trust me, get this guy out. So I think it's important that we do support and praise the ownership for what they're doing in their current guys. I was on another podcast, Arsenal podcast this week, and somebody asked me about the timing when they took full ownership of the club. Since then, things have gone pretty well.
Yeah. Since they've taken it over, it's gone better and better, really, as much as I criticize them. There's been a correlation with an upward trajectory, to be fair.
Deluded. So they may argue, look, we were just waiting to take over the whole club. Why would we pump in all of our money when we don't own all of the club? And when you really think of it like that, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, logically, yeah.
If you own part of a car, are you going to pump in bare money?
Yeah, you're not going to get new rims
car?
and everything. It don't make sense.
You'll do the bare
Unless
minimum.
you're silly.
So
You never know.
I wouldn't. You own, a part of a house, but you're going to put in bet. You wouldn't do that. So I don't know if that's true, but they would argue that now we own the club. Look what's happening. So, and it's hard to argue against that. So I think, to your question, Deluded, that they deserve criticism and heat when they got it. I stand by that. But I think they deserve praise and credence and credit, now that they're doing better. Now, the job's not complete. The job's not done yet. The target is now to win the title. That job's not done. But if we don't win it from here on in, unless we lose every single game between now and the end of the season, I'm proud of my club and the people that own my club. If we finish second, so be it. I personally think when we finish second, we'll finish second by 2, 3, 4 points. It will be very, very close. It won't be a collapse from City or Arsenal. If we finish second from here on in by 2 or 3 points, you hold your hands up, because Deluded, we can lose to City and lose to Liverpool on the weekend, win all the other games, and still finish second. That for me is like what more can you do? You can't call that a bottle job. You can't say, that you collapsed. Not at all. So for me, the ownership deserve credit. My final kind of answer to that question, Deluded, would be, I don't want to win the league or have a title race on a one-off. I want to dominate. I want to be in this position for the next 3, 4, 5 years.
This needs to become the minimum.
Right. So for me, here on in, whether we finish first or second, it doesn't really matter in terms of what the ownership should be planning for next season and the year ahead. I hear Declan Rice is the main target for next season. I'm not a big Declan Rice fan.
Oh, why?
I think he's overrated, Deluded. I think he's a good player.
Why though? Let's get into specific. Why do you think he's overrated?
The
I don't necessarily disagree with you.
M's, Deluded. They're chatting about 100 M's. If Bellingham is costing 150, well then what's Rice costing? Costing a bag of rice. Don't chat to me about 80, 90, 100 mil. I like Declan Rice. I like him, Deluded. I think he's a good player.
Oh man,
about 80, 90 mil.
What if Arteta's convinced then? As you said, we trusted everyone. Everyone did their job.
Deluded, and you've called me out there for being the hypocrite I am. If Arteta thinks he's the right guy, I'm with Arteta. Yeah,
That's how you're saying is exactly how I feel about Declan Rice. I can't lie. You're not alone.
Whatever you say, I'm with you. But I look at the player and think to myself, I just don't see it. I don't see what everyone knows, and I'm in the huge minority. Granted, and look, if we sign him, believe me, I'll be the first one singing his name on the terraces come next season.
As you should. Amen.
I'll back the kid, but I think there's better for what we need for the price I think we'll pay for him. I don't see us getting him for less than 70 mil. For me, if you're putting 70 mil up, I'm looking at Onana at Everton. I'm looking at Casado at Brighton. I'm looking at as the boy, who's the boy on? I've seen another guy in Europe at Napoli, good holding midfielder. I'm looking at the boy at Fulham for 70. Do you know what's his name? The bad boy, Paulista.
Yeah, the Portuguese lad, Paulinho.
Yeah,
he loves
so
to
and this kind of links to your earlier question as well in terms of the ownership. Another reason why they were getting heat Deluded was because I'm a big believer in value for money.
Yeah,
Arsenal fans pay the most amount of money for our tickets than any football club in the world. So for me, if you're charging us $2,000 for a season ticket, of which some people I know are paying, that doesn't equate to guaranteed wins. You can't say we're charging you. Look, we're going to promise you trophies. No. What it should promise me is entertainment and being competitive. And for a best part of nearly 2 decades, we've been neither. Do you know what I mean? So, and for value, if I'm look, call me a loser, Deluded, but I'm in a position now whereby when I watch football, I want to be entertained. Of course, I want to be a winner. Of course, I want to win the Premier League title.
Everyone wants to be entertained. That's what gravitated us towards the game whenever we first started watching football.
But for me, Deluded, they're on par. For most people, it's winning first, entertainment second. Cool.
Nah,
for me, they're equal. They're equal to me, especially if you're a big club. They're equal. So for me, this year, whether we finish first or second, I've had a good year. I've enjoyed.
You can say that again. We've had a great year, man. We've just happy to be here. Like this, we've been through back-to-back 8 finishes, bro. Like,
for a long time, Deluded, I didn't like watching my club. I'll be real.
You're not alone. You're not alone. Everyone would lie and say they didn't, but we all were like this. We all were like this.
I enjoy watching my team. So for
Now
me,
we're filled with
I'm
excitement.
happy to pay my money to the Kroenkes because I know that I'm getting a team that's competitive, entertaining, and a team that I like. I like Arteta.
So many
I like
likeable
Saka.
footballers.
I like Ben White. I like Ramsdale. I like this team, so I'm happy to give you my money. So going back to Declan Rice, I'm a big believer in value for money. And for me, Declan Rice, in my opinion, what the figures are being quoted, that wouldn't be value for money. Don't get me twisted. Don't get me wrong here. People kind of think I don't rate him. I like him. I just don't think I don't like him. £80 million like, yeah, bro. For me, he's a £50 million player. And people think that's harsh. That's the ballpark I would be prepared to pay for him. But sure, it's not my money. Well, it is my money, but it's for them to decide that they've earned my trust now. So if they think Declan Rice is the guy, for me, Deluded, why are we not in the conversation for Jude Bellingham?
I'd love to be in that conversation. I don't know why, because we can put up the cash and sell a project. Obviously, you got to fight with everybody, but that is, for me, that's a curtain raiser. I share what you say with Declan Rice. I think the only slight difference is I actually like him a lot. I think people kind of discredit his technical level, and I think should he sign for Arsenal, he'd have to play a different way. But I do agree with you. The fees being quoted is a bit mad. I do look at someone like Caicedo, and it's with Declan Rice, I'm more enticed by what you could be, what Mikel Arteta could do with you in that Xhaka role, the Partey role. Yeah. With Caicedo, you just look hungry. We saw how he wanted a new contract. He's got family members in South America. The hunger is different with it. What do you, because you mentioned Onana and Caicedo, what did they have over Declan Rice for you?
I think Caicedo, I think he has a bit of a robustness to him that I like. Not to say that Declan Rice is some wimp, because he's not, but I like Caicedo's athletic ability, and I think he's quite durable on the ball. These are things that I think Declan Rice poses as well. I just think that Caicedo, from what I've seen, the short time I've seen of him, I think there's a bit more there. Yeah. Onana is definitely more robust than Declan Rice.
21 as well. I don't know about the passport, but 21 allegedly. Crazy. There's no way he's 21. What you doing to Partey? You're not 21.
Deluded, he's 21. We get him, he's 21.
Yeah. Keep it still.
And I like these ruggedness. The thing that I think Declan Rice has got over Onana, which I think actually all three of those players I would like to see a little bit more of, is their technical ability on the ball. I don't think as a defensive midfielder or as a sitting midfielder you can get away with anymore just being a henchman. I don't think you can get away with not being you got to play ball. When the ball's at your feet, what can you do with the ball? I'm not asking you to be Pirlo, but I think you have to have a certain level of technical ability that enables you to play. Arteta wants his players to be able to play. Rodri at Man City, he's their defensive midfielder, but he can still play. He can play ball, yeah. Fabinho at Liverpool, I love Fabinho. I wouldn't actually mind. I know he's had a bad year this year, but I reckon that Arsenal he can do a thing. But he can play. Do you know what I mean? Even Partey on the ball can play.
Yeah, he's crisp on the ball, to be honest.
He's nice on the ball. The days of just being, I'm going to bruck up play and give it. And I think Declan Rice is in that mode. He can dribble every now and again, but the guy at Fulham, the reason why I like him as well is because he can play. He not just break up play, but he can play. And that's probably one thing that I think Caicedo, Onana, and Rice, I think they're slightly all lacking in that particular area of the pitch. But Onana, I like him. He's robust, but like I say, Grant, I've only seen him this season. Do you know what else I like? I think Villa. I like Villa's three midfielders. I like Luiz. I love Jacob Ramsey. I think Ramsey has gone under the radar massive. I think he could be the next
he's unfortunately plays for Villa with the greatest of respect to them. Or he'd have a lot more hype train around him in this Premier League because there's less young players get more hype in my opinion.
He's my outside shout for making the England squad for the Euros next year. Under Emre next season, I reckon Ramsey. I like him.
Scored the vital goal against us last year. I think if I remember correctly.
I'm not saying we should sign him, but I like him. And the other boy they've got, Kamara. I like Kamara.
We could have got him for free, man.
We could have got him for free. So those are kind of players that I'm looking at and thinking they're for me good squad players, or even the case of Caicedo or Paulina upgrades on Granit Xhaka. So I think those are the ones. But for me, Bellingham is the one that I'll be going in for. You know why? I'm not one of these Arsenal fans that kind of gets blinded by the sexy big transfers and the big fees. I don't get the right guy. If the right guy costs 4.8 million,
help us.
Right. If the right guy costs 4.8 million, I'm cool with that. I'm not a snob. I don't need the £100 million signings.
Yeah.
The reason why I would go for Bellingham is, one, I think that he'd be a significant upgrade on Xhaka. And two, it's not often, if you win the Premier League, it's not often you can go into the summer market, Deluded, and have the tag of Premier League champions.
Yeah,
and
that
battle with the likes of Real
bit.
Madrid. You can flex a little bit and say, yo,
look at what we're doing in a short period of time under me.
Yes.
Yeah, come to the dark side. Look what we're doing in North London. There's no power shift out here, man.
So if you have that tag, and it's not often Arsenal going to have that tag, let's be real.
Yeah.
Use it while you've got it. You know, that
You're
lure
speaking
of the Premier League champions. Use that card, brethren. So I would go all in for Bellingham. I know they won't, because he will be 150 million plus, and that'll be most of our budget. So I don't think they'll go for Bellingham. But for me, I would go for Bellingham. That would be my marquee signing. That I think it's not just a vanity signing. We actually need him. He goes in replace of Xhaka
in that 8 role, slots in nicely, especially
man.
English, all of that stuff with the Benjamins, Ramsdale, Sakas. There's marketability, there's growth, because he's nowhere near where he should be as a final player. It's more of a dream, an improbable dream, but if we could, I'm open to being surprised. What do you make of Lavia from Southampton? Because he's another one.
I like him, Deluded. I must admit, I've not seen as much of him as I probably should to have a proper view on him, but from what I have seen of him, he looks good. He does look good. Again, he looks robust. He looks like he of all those players we're talking about, on the ball, he's probably the best from what I've seen. On the ball, he can travel with the ball quite well. So again, I haven't seen enough of him to say we should go and sign him, but I've seen enough of him to know that I expect him to get a big move in the summer. Whether it's us or somebody else, I don't know. But yeah, I like the look of him as well. He does look good.
You're right, man. I mean, we've been talking about midfielders with slightly different profiles, but kind of similarities. Yeah. Do you think it's just one midfielder and done? Because we've been focusing on Caicedo and Party and that.
I think we need two, because as much as I think so, yes. As much, and this is the reason why Turkish from AFTV was saying he thinks that they will go for Rice, because he thinks that Rice, and it's true, can play an 8 or a 6. You get 2 players almost in one there. Whereas Bellingham, I think Bellingham do it as well, to be fair, but your Caicedos, your Ananas, they can't interchange between the 2 roles as well. Really. There you go. So I think we need 2. I need one. As much as Xhaka has been brilliant this season, he's turned me around. Next year we're going to be in the Champions League, and I want to win the league again. Yeah, whether we win back-to-back titles or our first title, I want to win the Premier League next season. I'm just not sure you need a midfield of Partey and Xhaka can again do this. I think you need to upgrade on Xhaka, and Partey's my guy. But for me, his injury record is too concerning.
You're never 100% confident with him staying fit, and he's been fit this season, but we've had them stages. And
he's been fit this year, and he still missed the United home away game. He missed the City game, I think.
Yeah. I don't think you're wrong. He did.
Liverpool game at home, I think he's missed.
I'm pretty
Chelsea
sure he did.
He's missed the big games this year, B. And I'm like, yo, we can't go into next year. And I don't know if my main guy in midfield is going to be there or not. I can't work. So for me, I wouldn't sell him, but I would definitely upgrade on him. I definitely need to bring in, if you can get in a Rice and a Bellingham, or if you can get in a Caicedo and a Paulista, that for me is an upgrade as far as I'm concerned. You still have Xhaka and Partey below that. I wouldn't be mad at those 4 as my midfield options.
You're not alone, man. I think, I actually think we need to keep Xhaka and Partey, because experience, in my opinion, is overrated, but it can't be overstated, especially if we're going to go and do this again, especially if we're going to be in the champs. I think we need the luxury of Xhaka and Partey holding on to their places, but also Caicedo or Declan Rice or whatever have you, being able to take a role or deputize or long-term be able to take your role. Because I look at our team, as much as I love what we're doing, we've got players with their best years ahead in the final third and in the defensive third. In midfield, there's bare question marks. The one guy that's a bit of an exception is obviously Lokonga, and I don't know if you're going to get a chance here. I want to be proven wrong, but I think you'd sell. Yeah, half of them guys, is there anyone on loan you'd bring back? I think Balogun would probably be it on paper right now. And obviously comes in years to come.
I'll come Balogun in a second. I'll come to him in a second. I think I want to make a point on Balogun. Who else? Who else out on loan? So
Tavares,
Pepe,
Ainsley.
sell. Tavares, sell. Ainsley, I think this is last year his contract.
It's either the last year now or next year. I mean, if we load him out, he's surely got another year left on his deal or something. It would have made sense, surely.
Oh, okay, no, you're probably right. So
maybe, I don't know. I think you're right in that his deal's running down, but I hope so.
Sell Ainsley, sell Tavares. I'd sell Lokonga. I'd sell Pepe. Who else is there?
I mean, Runnison, it goes without saying. Cedric, I'm not sure how you feel.
Cedric goes. Have we still got my man? What's his name? The guy who went to France, the midfielder, Guendouzi. Is he still our player?
No, he's gone, man.
You sold him?
I saw him out early. Yeah,
Oh,
he's gone. The way he was moving on to having you on the books, he's gone.
Yeah, I mean, between those 5 players I've named, that's 50 mil.
And you save a lot of wages, especially where you said Pepe. He's on like 140 grand now. I don't care what you get paid, but we need to share them resources to the Salibas, the Martinellis, the Sakas, the guys that are part of this. Really.
But bye, Felicia. Them man, they can go. On Balogun. So I want to ask you a question before I answer your question. Would you buy a striker this summer?
If the opportunity was there, unpopular opinion, I think I'd either go for a striker, but they have to be evidently better than what we have. Or if you could find someone like Trossard that could play out wide, then I'd take it. If you could find a Adebayor at Monaco or Giroud before we signed him, that sort of profile I would. If not, I think I'd give Balogun an opportunity, really. But I do think, as we kind of said earlier, we got to look at midfield. I'd bring in a right back, maybe a right-sided centre-back, maybe a left-back to go with what Tierney wants to do at the end of the season if he wants to go, before we look at a striker. But we're in the Champions League and we need more talisman. I'm a big fan of Jesus. I like what the young guys are doing, but I do think we're missing a trick without a striker. I know they're difficult in today's day and age. I wouldn't press for it, but if there is that striker that is worth the money and raises the curtains of this team, I'd do it personally, with the greatest respect to Eddie, Balogun, and everyone. I just have to be harsh to them to be kind to Arsenal Football Club. I think we were missing the trick there, if I'm honest.
I think that's what it is. I think you've nailed it, Deluded. I don't think it's necessarily a priority, but if you're going to go to the Champions League next season and you want to win the Premier League next season, I just feel you still need. I know it's not necessarily Arteta's way to have one marksman that gets you 25 goals. It's not his way. I just feel in games, I need to know that I've got an attacker that I'm confident will score. I like Jesus.
Out of issues.
Yeah, I do like Jesus, and I wouldn't sell him. And Saka's bringing in goals. Martinelli is now a top scorer, so it's looking like you prefer a fluid front.
Everyone sharing the workload.
Everyone chipping 12 goals each.
Yeah, and even Granit Xhaka, to be fair to him, you got a big portion of goals as well. Whether it's persists or not, you've played a new role and done your thing. So shout out to you.
You're right, but I still look at the top teams in Europe and think Real Madrid, Benzema. Tottenham, Kane. Exactly. Liverpool, Salah.
Exactly.
City, Haaland. When it comes to really getting the job done, there's a gunman there that other teams are scared of, that I wouldn't mind as well. And that links to your question about Balogun. I like Balogun, but if you're saying next season our starting 4 strikers are Jesus, Nketiah, Balogun, and then Trossard, I think you've got 4 really good there without a scary striker.
Yeah, it's not that it's bad. It's just it feels like it's missing something that really takes us up a gear.
Exactly. And then look, like I said before, if you're then saying, well, but then you're forgetting about Saka and you're forgetting about cool. There's weapons there, no problem. But I just wonder if we need to kind of have a striker next year that's like, oh shit, they've got him now.
This is it. This is it.
Jesus is now their second striker, and if he's your second striker, who the hell's your? Oh damn.
This is what I'm saying. And then if everyone keeps doing what we're doing, we literally are a force to be reckoned with, especially with improving defensively. Because to go back to what you said about Arteta, I really love the system. Like if we look at Xhaka and Partey, just because Partey is more the henchman, as you put it, he still has to contribute going forward. You look at his build-up play against Bournemouth. Granit Xhaka's defending well. Benjamin White's popping up with a goal or two. Zinchenko is regulating the team for us. And there's, everywhere there's goals. And I really do like that. I really do like the fact that, to be fair to the players, they've bought into what Arteta wants, because as we've seen at some clubs, he could have all these ideas. If they're not able to take the information and fully buy into it, then it's all dead. So I'm really a fan of it, man. What have you made of Arteta's mistakes that he's potentially learned from? Because I think he's actually still got to learn from things, but I think making more subs, less trusting of players that don't necessarily deserve it, being a bit harsh in terms of playing the same players, the works he's doing with Saka, with Martinelli, with Trossard, and all of these things, giving faith to young players, making them consistent, changing the way they think more than anything and their mentality. I've got nothing but praise from Arteta, and I think he has really his own personal wrongs, and The only one I'm looking for now is, can you manage 2 tournaments at once? Because I don't think under his tenure we've done as well as we could in the Europa. It's not all been his fault, but I think we haven't really conceded that it's a 2-legged tie. Latest being Sporting Lisbon, where we should have won it at home and not gone to penalties and that.
No, I hear you. Well, I'm going to dine out, Deluded, on the fact that I was the only person on the planet that wanted Mikel Arteta after Wenger. I was saying I wanted Arteta.
Credit to you, man. You did something we didn't still.
I was saying then Arteta for 2 reasons. One, because as I saw it at that point, we were at rock bottom. And like in a poker game, when you got nothing to lose, try it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got nothing to lose. You got nothing to lose. So you might as well
your analogies are the best, man. You're right still.
Try things. You might as well gamble. And the second reason was that I'd heard really good things about him from his time at Arsenal in terms of behind the scenes. When they lost him to City, they were gutted. They were like, oh, we wanted to keep him in the back room because they knew he was a bright mind. Pochettino wanted him to be his assistant before Pep nabbed him. So when you got Pochettino and Pep both want you as their assistants, and Arsenal want to keep you, that said to me, oh, this guy must, as a player, the irony is, the player, I hated him. Injured. I never heard him at Everton.
I'm not gonna lie. He was a decent captain, but we got the pensioner version of Arteta, man.
Dead food, deluded. I hated him. I had no time for him at all. He was always injured. He wasn't a tackler. He wasn't a scorer. His passing had gone by that point. I don't know. But
you're right. Coach, still, your heart's not fair, man. You're right.
Yeah, man. I was like, get this guy at the club, man. He's dead. But I'd heard good things. So I was like, you know what? I heard good things about him. Give him a chance. And they were going to appoint him, and the last thing they changed their mind and went for Unai Emery. So that's the first thing. I wanted Arteta from Wade. So when we win the title this year, I'll be the one saying, yeah, you see,
he needs to cut you a check.
Cut me the ting, brethren. To the mistakes he's made. He is learning. I think his subs are getting better. I think managers in general get a raw deal when it comes to subs. Fans always say, why did you sub too late? You subbed the wrong person. But I've seen games this year whereby he's deliberately not subbed when the fans are calling for subs, and it's worked out. Because he's thinking, that guy that you guys are saying we should sub, I can see him getting more into the game, and that guy's I've seen games before. So I think I never kind of bash, unless there's like an obvious, like, the left back's getting absolutely rinsed from what
holding against City, really, against Haaland in the FA Cup. You need it, bro. Half time, you need to come off. He's going to get long.
Come off. So I think that I don't bash him for something too much. I think he's a coach, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted him in, because I think we needed a coach.
Really, I think we're seeing now. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Saka has got better. Emil Smith-Rowe has got better. Ramsdale, even in the 2 years, has got better. Saliba, all right, most of his coaching and his growth has come abroad.
Throw that to Arteta because he knew you're not ready right now.
There you go. I'm seeing a coach. The other thing as well that I loved about him when he first came in, I think his first game was against Chelsea at the Emirates. That was his first game. And the first thing I saw, which was the thing that we needed more than anything else, was just to up the work rate. And I remember it vividly. I've got a shocking memory, Deluded, but I remember vividly.
Sure, this point applies to United under his first tenure as well, where we was pressing well and mistakes let us down.
I just saw every player running 15% harder. That was what he brought in. He brought in the standards. He rose the standards, and he brought in the intensity. And that, for me, was what we needed at that point. Now, intensity and running harder will only get you so far. You can't win titles on just running harder than everybody else. You've got to have a plan. And I think over time, let's have it right. There were times when he was almost gone.
Yeah, no, rightly so. Like, there was times he was doing the madness, unfortunately.
Totally. And even though I never called for him to go, even as his biggest fan, Deluded, even I was at certain times like, boy,
you can't really defend the undefendable.
I can't defend you. Yeah, me, Mikel, you're my guy, but
unless you're at London Coley, you don't really see the process at certain periods. It's like, oh, it's crazy. But as you said at the start, credit to the club for sticking to their guns, really.
With him, and I think what also helped him, Deluded, was that FA Cup, because that FA Cup showed the fans and the board, I can win.
I can do something.
I can get over the line. So even in the bad times, my kind of what I clutched to when it was looking peak at certain times was, he has shown us he can win. It's not like it's a Poch thing where you're like, can this guy win?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
it's
like you're clearly good, but you've never
a
done it.
Lampard
We've
thing.
seen it happen.
Yeah, we've seen you can get us over the line, or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's like, can you get us over the line? This guy showed it early. So it's like, okay, well, we know the
That's
guy
the key
can
thing.
win.
That
We know the
hindsight, you're
guy
right.
can
That
win.
probably bought him some extra time. You know, now that you say that, it probably did.
I think it did, and I think also his transfers. He's been very involved from what it seems, and who's
Talent
coming
ID's
in.
been immaculate, if I'm honest.
And I think although the club should be held accountable, managers too should be held accountable for who comes in. When they flop and bomb, I'm looking at all of them. But when they do well, I'm looking at all of them as well. But he's integrated. Apart from William, has there been a flop signing?
Not really, apart from William. I mean, William, Marie, Cedric, he has to hold that. But again, the negative signings are outweighed by the good. You mentioned Ramsdale. I remember, like, you know, I wanted Ramsdale. I wasn't saying he's the guy to get, but I couldn't believe some Arsenal fans when they were kind of going mad about it. One thing I didn't know about Ramsdale was how good you are with the ball at your feet. Now, in hindsight, at Sheffield or Bournemouth, you're never going to display that. But that shows about Arteta's talent ID. Benjamin White, I was happy with that. But there was a time people were saying 50 million quid, the jury's still out. Been spot on. Retaining Xhaka, bringing in Saliba, that kind of has enhanced Martin Odegaard. I think Martin Odegaard's the best example because in that January, I could, like you say, you saw Arteta, I could see why he was brought in. I could see why he was made the captaincy. He had a tough January period when he signed. But I think that shows his talent ID. 30 million quid, we're laughing if you ever want to sell him. The likes of Zinchenko and Jesus, we're laughing. So we've made bad signings. We're going to make bad signings again. That happens in life. The only ones that I hold him accountable are the ones I said. Obviously, Tavares and Lokonga, the jury's still out. But the good thing with them, they're young. If they're not going to make it here, definitely Tavares. I think he signed for 8 million. If we can't make profit on that, then we might as well pack it up. If we can't save ourselves from that, then we might as well pack it up. And I think his talent ID has been spot on. Literally, as you said, I think I've got to the point with him now, and Edu, where I reserve the right, even if I don't like a Declan Rice or whatever, where I'll say, if that's what you lot want, go and get it, and we'll look at it.
Earn my trust.
Really. Yeah, even Trossard.
You're right.
Like Trossard and Jorginho, I still got question marks about Jorginho. Think he's a good signing. I just think certain games were going to be an issue, just like when he came on against Leeds. To be fair to him, you know, he is very easy to bypass in midfield. You saw it when we used to play Chelsea. We used to stick Lacazette or whoever on him, dispossess him and keep it moving. But everything I hear about Jorginho, it's about the mentality, how he is in the dressing room. And when you see Arteta, he is kind of clinging on to that. And I am enticed by what almost I can't see at the training ground or in the stadium or wherever, because it does feel like the mentality is changing. You see the way the subs move when guys scored, even when Jesus scored, the love he was getting. And it's that kind of brotherhood that takes you over the line. As you know, something that we've both seen that in tough moments in previous years, players have hidden. Players look like, in my opinion, they've looked like they've known Hector Bellerin, this guy, that guy, Mesut Ozil. They're going to be the fool guys. They're going to be the scapegoats. I don't really have to do anything. Now people are making mistakes and owning it and getting on with it. And for me, that's the proudest thing about what we're doing.
It is. I do have one concern, and it's only a gut feeling. I'm concerned about Saliba. This contract signing, not his ability, but the contract. I've got a horrible feeling that we may see with Saliba what we saw with Anelka. I think that the club may think we can make a massive profit on Saliba. I hope I'm wrong.
In the foot with that, man.
What, he's got one more year in his contract, I believe, so he's got to sign this summer. We've got to sell him this summer. And I don't like how this contract is being dragged out. Why is it being dragged out? They may say the whole PR thing of the focus is the league. We'll chat about that afterwards. But Martinelli signed. Saka's all but signed. What's the deal? Like, you've been presented with the future of what the club are going to do in the next 4 or 5 years. You're in a good place. You're a starting player in this club. There's the financial package. Either you like it or you don't. What have you got to wait for? Why?
To be fair, though, to Saliba, if you put yourself in his shoes, would you sign it immediately? Because to be fair to him, could you sit there and say, well, you know what, fair enough, Arteta's come in, didn't use me initially. When I signed, I was under Una Emre. I was moved about a bit. Cool, you're playing me right now, but I kind of need to be a bit more. I need to see some confirmation. And do you leverage that with the fact that you played for France at the World Cup and now you're playing?
What more confirmation do you need? You're the first name on the team sheet.
I'm just playing. I'm just trying to be devil's advocate and look at it.
I don't see what he needs to see unless the finances aren't his liking. Then that's fine. If we're offering him $250 a week and he wants $350 or $300, then that's something they've got to work out and cool. But apart from that, I'm like, why haven't you signed yet? And I just think
I agree. When you put it like that, I am getting a bit nervous now. What's going on?
Yeah, deluded. And I think the club might think to themselves, we paid 20 million for you.
Yeah, 20 odd million quid. How much are you worth now? PSG want you allegedly. So
yeah. So the club might think, look, if you don't sign now, we can make 80 mil profit on you right now. And that's my concern. That's my only concern at the moment about in terms of the club. Get that contract locked down because by the looks of things, we've got a guy that could be one of the best defenders in the world for the next 5 years.
Defender, man.
Do you know what I mean? He's a bad boy. So that's the one thing I'm a little bit like, the club may, and in some respects, although it will be a bad thing to lose a huge talent like that, it will be a good thing in another sense, in the way that it will show the club of being a bit more business savvy. We've been awful in our business the last decade.
We've been terrible at selling players. There's not too many great guys. Iwobi, Joe Willock, two of our better sellings.
And even contracts we've offered, you know, the Ozil, Aubameyang. We've
players have cashed out and then it's
a lot of money. Yeah, man. So this would show not a footballing good decision, but a financial one. Do you know what I mean? It's 80 million there, and then with 80 million, do you go and buy another centre back? Do you know what I mean? So I want him to stay. I think he should stay, but that's the one that's making me a little bit. I'm getting a Nelka vibes that the club might just think, sure, let's make mad profit on you.
Trust, man. My last question for you before I let you get out of here, my guy. Obviously, it's Liverpool, Arsenal. Talk to me, man. What are you feeling? What's your score prediction? What do you think about it?
We're gonna win. You deluded. You know me now. I'm not one of those Arsenal fans that is deluded or biased, or I don't about Arsenal or predictions with emotion. Like, I'll happily call out an Arsenal defeat if I think I can, if I foresee it. If the evidence in front of me looks like we're going to lose this game on the weekend, I will say I think we're going to lose 2-0. I don't do the bias thing. But I've been saying for about a month now, and I can't back this up with anything in terms of football analysis. It's just a gut feeling. I'm saying for a month, we're going to win this game.
I want to see that. We ain't won there in 10, 11 years. It's time, man. If we're not going to win at Anfield with the season we're having now, well, to be fair, we didn't win at Old Trafford or Goodison or St. Mary's. We need to do it, man. We need to. Like, I'm terrified of Anfield. I think we're not going to necessarily see the Liverpool that have been playing this season. I'm scared, but I am quietly confident. I don't know beyond the obvious where this confidence comes from, but I just think we've got to be on the front foot. I think a mentality is shifted. I think we've got ourselves to 9 games. As Arteta said, enjoy it now. You've done all the hard work from May, whatever, to now. Do it. Just get it over and get it over the line, man. And some of you players have been there when we played Liverpool and been battered and bruised. Go and change that marker starting on Sunday for me, man. I'm scared, though. Regardless of that, I'm scared. I'm happy I'm not a player of Arteta. I'm literally scared of them, man.
It's a good point you make about players that have been there before. There's only 2 players, really. It's only Holding and Xhaka that have been there during the bad years where we've been getting slapped up at Liverpool for fun. Yeah, and they're both going to play on Sunday. Yeah. So you need them, man, to be like, you know what? This is a new Arsenal. Those dark days are behind us now, and also for Rob Holding, who I think will start on the weekend. This could be redemption from the Spurs game last year. Remember the Spurs game where he had a shot?
I hope so, because
he had a mare. He needs to look at this like this is my time to really. I think Rob Holding's been quite good for us this year, when he stepped in. But this is the test for me. This is can you really go to Anfield and marshal that back four and get out of there with at least a point and not make any errors and mistakes? Can you keep your nerve? Can you kind of, in the face of the Anfield roar, can you still prevail and come through? And I think we will. I think we will. And we have to rock up there, Deluded, like champions elect. We can't go there like timid Arsenal and let's try and get through. No, we've got to rock up their chest out and say, yo, we are the league leaders.
Exactly. Or we're preying the wild, man. There's hungry lions at Anfield. And if we're moving a certain sort of way, I don't want to be charity FC and give people 3 points.
Brethren, we need to rock up there and be like, yo, we are Arsenal FC. We are the league leaders. And we have a chance to really put one hand. Because if we win, for me, it's one hand on the title. Anfield, it's one hand on the title. Because then what you do then is...
I'd start to believe a lot more.
What you then do is then, if you win at Anfield, Deluded, you then put yourself in a position whereby you can almost afford 2 defeats and still be ahead.
In a sly way, I see where you're going with it. In a sly sort of way.
Do you know what I mean?
You're right.
You can afford yourself.
You bought an extra life if it was a video game.
You can afford a loss and a couple of draws. Even 2 losses, I think, still could keep us just top. So you could beat Liverpool, you could lose to Newcastle and City, and still be top.
Yeah, and still catch.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. If I was a player, I wouldn't be thinking like that. But as a fan, I'm thinking you have an opportunity here to really sit on the nose and say, yo, we've been to Anfield and duppied them. You're next. You're next, brethren.
Facts. Them doing the double over Liverpool this season, if that was to happen, where I
Even
can't tell you
City
the last
couldn't
time
win
that
there.
happened. Exactly.
Couldn't win there. So I think you really send out a message, A, to City, but also imagine if we win at Anfield, what it does for the our players. We've just gone to Anfield and won.
That's a mentality boost. That's a
So
spring
for
in the
me,
step.
we've got to rock up to Anfield like, yo, we're on job, we're focused. This ain't a joke game. This is not some little. This is a big game. Like Liverpool are not a joke team, but equally, we're here to do a job.
And that would confirm to me that this is the new Arsenal, if I'm honest.
So I think we will win 2-1. And that's not me being biased or look, we might get if we lose 4-0, message me on Monday and we can have a laugh about it. Because boy, that
it is what it is now, man. This is what football's about. If you've been feeling this way for a month, it's not a knee-jerk reaction, man. Like you actually made me a lot more optimistic about the game because I'm scared. I still got that PTSD of just Mo Salah, Mane, left into the channels against, ironically, Rob Holding, and we've seen how that story goes. But I hope it's not that, really, if I'm completely honest with you. I'm
up there with confidence and just really, Arteta's got to really get them calm but intense at the same time. And that's a contradiction, but they've got to have cool time. They've got to have cool heads, calm heads, but they've got to be every tackle we win. If not, second ball we win. Make Liverpool know you are in a game. This is a new Arsenal.
I agree.
Yeah? On job and we win. Take your chances and we get out there with 3 points. I'm making it sound very simple, but that for me is the approach that we need to deploy to win 3 points. I think we will win, even if we draw. A draw is a good result.
You think, bro? You give me a point right now. I'll deal with West Ham next week. I'll live to fight another day because as we saw with the Invincibles, their draws there. If you can't win, don't lose, in it. Like always, come home with something. I would like to beat Liverpool because a part of me feels to a degree it's going to come down to winning at the Etihad, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. I do think for us to win the title, I don't know why, and I know mathematically it goes against it, but I think you have to beat City. The more we do our jobs elsewhere, when it comes to that showdown, you've got a healthy.
I'm not sure you do. I'm not sure you do because that's the narrative as well that I hear Deluded a lot. That's the crucial game. Look, it might be the crucial game, but that narrative predicates on the fact that we're saying City will win every game between now and then.
And I believe they will, but I also believe they won't.
They might, Andrew, they might and they can.
I hope Southampton do us a favour for us, which Liverpool didn't.
Yeah, no, don't. Yeah, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. But the other games after Southampton, they may drop points. They got Champions League games. They got the FA Cup semi-final.
Sheffield United. That's going to be difficult. I believe.
Yeah, this idea that is the crucial game. I'm saying for months now. People are saying that, but forgetting that if Arsenal do their job, that game the Etihad could be irrelevant.
That's true. That's true. I just have the mentality. I like when, like in life, where things are in your hand. And I just know if we beat Liverpool, and definitely if we beat City, who are fighting, then it's all good. I don't like to rely on other things like some Arsenal fans were doing last season when we lost to Spurs, relying on Norwich to maybe do a fairy tale on the last day of the season. That is a myth, man. Again, last question before I let you get out of here. Who's been your player of the season?
My player of the season... I think
it's a mad one, isn't it?
It's hard. I think it's hard and it's not. I think it is Saka. I'm not sure if he's the player of the season.
All right, give me three.
I think Saka.
This is how we're moving, man. Guys can't even answer this. Remember in previous years, it used to be quick. We knew the one good player.
There was one good player in the squad.
It was quick. It's like that. You wouldn't say, didn't forget three. It's one guy. Like...
I'm gonna say Saka, and I'm gonna say Xhaka. I think up into the World Cup, Xhaka was our best player.
That's fair.
I think up into between the starts in the World Cup, Xhaka was our best player. He's had a bit of a dip post World Cup, and he's had a few good games since as well. But I just think not only has he improved in terms of his output on the pitch, I just think he's become the leader that I think we all knew was deep down in there. And he's not being a dickhead and doing dumb things that leaders don't do. Yeah, I'm seeing him lead this team. Our captain is Odegaard, but I think the captain is Xhaka.
Yeah, the captain's really Xhaka. Odegaard lead by example. Xhaka's the man in the trenches.
you know what I mean? So they'd
Yeah.
be my three. I mean, I want to give a shout out though to Ramsdale and to Gabriel, because I think that you don't get this part of the season, especially look at our waveform, without having good defenses. And there have been two players this year that I think
He's away this year as well. Amazing.
Oh, bro,
Trench work.
Ramsdale. People forget this, but there's been about 8 or 9 games where Ramsdale's made one crucial save at 1-0 up, or at 0-0, or at 1-0 down, and that save doesn't get made. We're now 2-0 down, or it's now 1-1.
Last game that happened. And he saved us.
go.
But obviously, when you win 4-1, it doesn't really matter. But
no one notices
I
that,
agree with you, man. Ramsdale should have a lot more clean sheets, really. We haven't really dealt with him that nice in that regards, man. I would say, like you, I think no one cannot say Saka. I'd hail up Martinelli. I would say Odegaard or Xhaka, but I want to say Zinchenko. I want to go a bit different because I was saying Gabriel Jesus, player of the season, Arsenal signing of the season. Now I think it's Zinchenko. I think we're going to get to a time where we can't just dictate games with our left back, but Zini's brought something different, bro. Even Benjamin White deserves a hail up as well.
He's missed a lot of games, Zinchenko.
You are right. You are
pre-World Cup.
Right. Yeah, but he made the difference in the big ones, though, man. And I'm a fullback, so I'm always going to be biased to the fullbacks. Man.
There we go.
I've got to spread propaganda.
There we go. I see where we're going. Yes, sir. I think the fact that there are so many candidates to kind of pick from is a good sign. And my final point would be, Deluded, that, like I said, let's get this title over the line. Let's win it, and I'll see you on the bus parade on Islington High Road. But even if we don't win this title, I think we should be proud of our team. And it's the first time I could say that in maybe a decade. We've won FA Cups and done the cup thing, but big clubs aren't defined by cups. Big clubs are defined by leagues and European cups. And I think we want to be a big club again. I think we have to. This is where it starts, bro. And I think that if we can just get over the line now, if we lose on the weekend and City win, then to your point, City then have control of the title then, because it's then in their hands. Getting
scared because they know we've got to go to their place as well.
It's in their hands. You're right. But if we win or get a point, it's still in our hands. I think we have to just kind of finish the job off and get the job done. And let's just back the team again. If we don't win the title this season, we'll be gutted. We'll all be gutted because it's been a great year. And we go again, and the banter will come from Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans. They'll all banter us. We just gotta hold it. because we would dish it out.
Spurs fans, you lot don't know what a league is, so just.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. Look, Chelsea fans, I can take it from Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans. I can hold it. Tottenham fan, don't one Tottenham fan dare at me or chat to me. I'll slap you. Do you know what I mean? But we just gotta hold that and go again.
Oh man, like you said, we go again. Jordan, it's been fantastic being here with you, especially on the Liverpool point. You made me a lot more optimistic. Again, let people know where they can find you, what content you have to come out with, you actually do, because I know about you, but yeah.
I'm out here, man. I'm on Twitter _Jordan J Bryan. I'm on Instagram.
Information will be in the description.
Jarrett-Bryan.
By the time.
Yeah, bro, big up. Check out my platform, Black Academic. We do a lot of content around black culture and black content as well. Some of it is sport, a lot of it is not sport. Channel 4 News, Talk Sport. I'm doing my thing, man. But yeah, hit me up on the Instagram. I'm out here, man.
Exactly, man. And on that note, people, don't forget to support Jordan's socials. Don't forget to hit the like button, comment, subscribe. Jordan, it's been fantastic. Let me let you get out of here. People, safe.
There's always that active red line, defending.